Hey, welcome everybody back to the Sustainiacs. Changed the name a little bit. We got our new YouTube channel and rebranded. Check it out, the Sustainiacs on YouTube. Like, subscribe, do all that kind of fun stuff. We've defined what we're doing, Emma, and I have Lindsey McCoy. We have Lindsey McCoy with us from Plaine Products. So we promised last time we were here, and Emma came through, which is awesome. Thank you so much, Emma, and thank you so much, Lindsey, for being here. But Lindsey, what we're doing here, and maybe you can appreciate this. I think you can appreciate this, but what we're doing here, and tell me if this is a good, succinct way of telling people what we're doing, Emma, is we connect companies and brands with consumers so they can both live intentionally with ease. Yay? Nay?
Yeah,
we
I think so. I think that wasn't the intention when we started the podcast, but now that we've started to kind of delve into what brands are doing it right and what's going on, we are really happy to have brands on here that are doing it right and that are digging into the circular economy. So welcome, Lindsey. We're very, very excited to have you on this episode.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here. And I do
absolutely
appreciate your mission. Small brands like us can use all the help we can get.
Well, you certainly can, and it goes beyond that, doesn't it, Lindsey? Because when you start breaking down things, and Emma and I have talked about it quite a bit, and it's no secret to people like the three of us who have the same mission in life. We may be going about it different ways, but same mission in life is that even established brands, they got to catch up, man. It's not an expense to have your company operate sustainably and intentionally. With intentionally, I mean being a good steward of the earth and society, because you're not going to exist anymore. I mean, we don't need really legislation. The people and the consumer are deciding that, right?
I hope so. I mean, certainly that's the bet we're placing, is that, as a society, we're moving in that direction. And it certainly in the 5 years we've been operating, we've seen more and more people being concerned, sustainability, plastic waste, climate change being in the news more and more, and kind of, I think, becoming more mainstream. So.
Yeah. So let's dig into what you're doing there yourself, your background and what you're doing there. And then afterwards, we're going to talk about this article that came out about California looking at really looking at passing the strongest EPR legislation in the country. And we spoke about how there's been kind of like this quasi kind of watered down type of stuff, which kind of opens it up to which way it's going to go. I think there was was it New York or somebody we were talking about before, Emma, where they kind of introduced this legislation that kind of said, it didn't mean anything. It was just like, hey, we're going to think about doing something maybe, and we don't know what it's going to mean. It was like this really like nothing happened. But anyways, and you're welcome to stay with us. Love to get your take on that as well, Lindsey, as we move forward into this. So let's talk about your background a little bit, huh?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, go ahead, Emma.
So Lindsey is from Plaine Products. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure, I'm happy to talk about that. Happy to talk about the background. Maybe I'll start with background, and then that makes a little bit more sense how we ended up where we ended up. But my background's actually in nonprofit management. So I spent 20 years running nonprofits. My husband is from the Bahamas, lovely island nation off the coast of Florida, and I lived there with him doing environmental education. And when you're in a small island country that doesn't have the same infrastructure we have here in the States, you start to notice plastic piling up. We'd see it on the water, on the beaches. I would end up in, landfills related to environmental education, and you just see all of this plastic. And that's around the time that we first started seeing reports of there may be more plastic than fish in the ocean by 2050. And that seemed crazy until I started to see all this plastic pile up. And you see it wash up on the beach, and it's still whole and in one piece. And I was like, oh, plastic is an amazing material, and what it's really good for is lasting forever. And we're using this amazing material for 5 minutes, and then we're throwing it away. So it started to just irritate me. I mean, I wasn't saying but I just didn't want to contribute to it.
I'm with you.
And so
it's funny because the very thing it's good for is the thing that causes the issue, right? It's like, it's known for being so long lasting, but then you're like, oh, wait, it lasts forever.
It's every piece of plastic that's ever been made is still in existence. I mean, it just doesn't go away. And so, it's just a poor match of resources. I mean, people are like, oh, you hate plastic. I mean, no, I don't hate plastic. I just want to use plastic for what it's good for. I mean, stick it in a car, stick it in medical equipment, stick it in things that are going to last for a long time. To stick some water in it and then drink it and throw it away, it's just a bad idea for lots of reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, Lindsey, let me interrupt you there because this is really interesting because Emma and I have both said this and put this out there, that it's not plastic that is the issue. It's our irresponsible use and containment of it that is the issue. Would you agree with that statement?
Completely. I mean, I think, marketers sold us a bill of goods that disposability and convenience was the most important thing. And I remember actually seeing like a meme on the internet that was like, when did it become easier to pull oil out of the ground, extract it, refine it, make a spoon, ship it. And so you have this disposable spoon instead of just washing a regular spoon to stir your coffee. Like, why do we need a plastic spoon to do this and then throw it away? And yet that's what we were all doing throughout the 80s, 90s, 2000s is, why not?
So let me ask you this, because I want to get into Plaine products, but I'm really interested in your background because I kind of suspected some of this stuff because you are a board member of the Plastic Ocean Project.
I am.
And I believe you're still there. And I'm really, really interested in speaking to you. And I'm sure Emma is after the show and maybe digging deeper into that and actually doing a show about that as well eventually, because Emma is a marine environmentalist, right?
Oh, yep. I'm a marine environmental scientist. I did my research on plastic pollution, microplastics specifically in the coast of Florida. So what types of plastics we're seeing and in what quantities and like where in the ocean, surface, bottom, north, south. So it's really cool to me to see, the work that you're doing and the work that the Ocean Plastic Coalition is doing and all these places. It's a cause that's near and dear to my heart. So I would love to hear a little bit more about that. Yeah.
Well, you will love Bonnie Monteleone, who's the founder of Plastic Ocean Project. I'm sure she'd be delighted to come on and chat. And then also, I will tell you,
love to.
I got to do a trip called Expedition, and it was an all-female, intended to be around the world trip, collecting samples around the ocean for surface plastic, I think 90 meters down, and then bottom grabs at sea. And I was on the fifth leg from Aruba to Panama. And we actually, so I don't know, if you imagine Central America, Panama is, kind of here. And so all the prevailing winds and currents go this way. So as we got closer to Panama, basically we found like the equivalent of kind of another plastic gyre of all of this plastic waste from the whole Caribbean just stacking up around the Sandbox Islands and Panama. And so
because of the wind and not even the current.
It's just all just blowing right there, and they're having to deal with it.
That's really interesting because you always talk about like the gyre that's forming the sides of Texas out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, but it's not just a very centralized issue. I mean, this is an issue that's like there are plastic in our oceans, period, everywhere.
Yeah, and then so
which is kind of a scary thought, but
dropping this canister down and snapping shut. They'll kill me because I'm going to say the wrong depth, but far enough down and pulling it up and then running the filter, and you'd see all these little microplastics just in the water. And that's really what freaked me out. Because I was like, oh, we're not getting that out. Like, we can try and clean up the stuff on the surface and maybe on the bottom, but like, those are in there. So
it's those ones you can't see that are going to be the problem, right? Like we can say, oh, look how much cleaner this beach is or something, but there really are microplastics everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's like you said, the scariest thing.
Yeah.
So Lindsey, give us the elevator pitch on Plaine products.
Yeah.
Now, Emma did a fabulous job on the last show. You might be able to see that if you go back and look at the last show when we talk about 5 brands, and we actually talk about 6 because she brought up Plaine products, and I think that was a fabulous thing to do because it fit in perfectly with the show. But yeah, give us your elevator and what was it that said, you know what, I'm not going to sit here in the Bahamas and take this any longer.
Well, so
I'm going to start Plaine products.
Exactly
So give us the elevator pitch and what started you.
I was trying to use less plastic in the Bahamas, and I couldn't find a solution for all the bottles in my shower. I did try shampoo bars, and for whatever reason, my hair didn't like them. And we decided around that time to move back to the States. And I called my sister and said, look, I'm going to try and figure this out. I don't see any reason why we can't. And this will betray my age, but my idea was based on the original Netflix. I don't know if you remember this, but like you get a DVD in the mail, you'd watch it, and then you'd send it back. And I was like, why can't we do that with bottles? We'll just get it, use it, and send it back. And that was the idea in 2015. And it took us about, a year and a half to figure it out and find a bottle and find a manufacturer. But yeah, the whole concept is, I've got a lotion sitting here. So you order a bottle, comes with a pump. And then when you're running low, we send you a refill, switch the pump over, and then we pay for the bottles to come back to us, and we wash, refill, and reuse them. So it's not, we're just kind of going back to how things used to be.
So Lindsey, talk to us about the different services and the different products that you have there.
So we started with shampoo, conditioner, and body wash in 2017. And since then, we've added body lotion, a facial line, hand sanitizer, and some hair products, hair repair, and a beauty oil for your skin. And we're about to also add a hair gel and a deep conditioner. And those the big ones are 16 ounces, and all of the products are aloe-based instead of water. We didn't want to be shipping water around, but we really wanted them to be good products. I think, when I first started experimenting with sustainability in the 90s and 2000s, you sort of just assumed that the product was going to suck a little bit. Like, you're like, well, I'm helping the planet.
That's right.
It's okay.
Right.
Like, my hair's a little bit like straw, or the toilet paper's a little scratchy, but at least I'm doing a good thing for the universe. And
yes,
that my sister actually refused to have that be what we were doing. She's a product person. So these are salon quality, aloe based, paraben, sulfate free, really good things. And our goal was to not have people feel like they had to compromise just because they wanted to do something for the planet. So about 16 different things, 16 ounce to small travel sizes that you can either use to sample it or to take it on the road. So you can avoid all of those little plastic bottles in hotels.
And I will say that's been a huge help, especially for me. I was using so many products, and then, as I was getting older, I was like, oh, I really need to think about my skincare. I can't keep using these little shampoo bars that are making my hair look greasy and horrible. But I transitioned into exclusively using the Plaine products, and I have a whole routine now with their face moisturizer and their face wash and the toner and the beauty oil, and that's like all that's in my bathroom. So it was really frustrating, like you said, Lindsey, for me when I was trying to experiment with these zero waste things. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna look like I have stringy hair for the rest of my life. And then I went in and if you don't like the way my hair looks, you can cut all this. But but the products really worked for me. The products really work for me. And I feel like finally I found something that is sustainable for me that I'm not going to give up in 6 months because it's not working. Like, this is something I've been doing for a while, and I'm really happy with the products.
So I got two questions.
Yeah.
Is this for women only, or can I do this? And what is a shampoo bar?
A shampoo bar is just like a concentrated, it looks like a soap bar, but it's made out of slightly material. So you just, as you just like soap, but for your hair. And some people absolutely love them. And, it's just like everything. I think everybody's hair is a little bit different. Everybody's skin's a little bit different. And so no one thing is going to work for everybody. But some people they work great for. And no, our products are not just for women. All of my husband and son use them. We have a lot of men. And we just added a hair and body wash, which thank you for reminding me. So one product doing double duty. And a sage scent, so kind of unisex scent. So I should send you some.
Sweet. Hey, can I request like bubble bath and stuff like that for kids?
Well, what? So this is the other thing Em and I were kind of getting to, but didn't. Was our other goal was to not have 85 million products that you were going to need. So we actually are use our body wash as a bubble bath. We have a list of 8 different ways to use the beauty oil. There are people oh, we need something to shave with. I'm use the conditioner. We try and encourage people to not have to buy 20 things for their counter, just a few things that do a lot of carry a lot of double duty.
But let's talk a little bit about the impact that you're having there and the importance of what that is, right? Our mission is trying to bring consumers and companies like yourself together to show the people that they don't have to just walk around and throw some plastic in a recycling bin and hope that it gets recycling. If they just use a little bit of intention and a little bit of knowledge, they can be doing things that don't cost more money, are highly quality products, and support the mission through, as you guys point out yourselves, Lindsey and Emma and I talk about this all the time, a circular economy, right? Is what you're trying to accomplish here, correct?
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to, the linear, you pull something out of the ground, use it, throw it away. Our goal is that the aluminum in our bottles, when you recycle it, there's no quality loss. So this bottle will hopefully, will last many, many times being reused. But then when it's done, it'll be recycled and just turn right back into another bottle or can or whatever. So, this never needs to go in the waste stream. And then, unfortunately, it is a plastic pump, but we're actually using it how it was meant to be used and encouraging people to keep them and reuse them. So I've had the same pump for years. It drives me crazy when I get something and I'm like, oh, now I gotta, like the new scoop for the protein powder. I'm like, I don't want another scoop. I have the old scoop. Like, don't keep selling me scoops.
I already feel bad enough about buying a giant plastic tub of powder. Like, let me just keep this own scoop, this little tiny thing that's not going to get recycled anyway because it's too small. Yeah, it's going to get lost.
So, I mean, there is good use for plastic if you're going to reuse it.
Yeah, no, there definitely is. And there's a circular economy for plastic. It can be recycled into another product. And I work with a group called Ocean Plastic Technologies. Emma has written white papers for them as well. In fact, she wrote a white paper on the difference between a linear and circular economy. And how it pertains to obviously recycling and how important that is, and just pointing out to people what that means, right? Because people don't quite get that, and
I think
and really just highlighting the fact that we don't have one unless you're intentional and you say, okay, I'm going to buy Lindsey's products because this is actually circular, right?
Yeah, well, a lot of money, as we were discussing earlier, was spent on getting people to buy into this linear economy because it promotes growth and all sorts of things. But I think we're now reaping what we sowed. I mean, stuff is piling up. Mm-hmm. There's only so much waste. There's only so many resources on the planet, and we can't keep doing things the way we've been doing them for the last 40 years. It just doesn't make sense, and we're not doing any favors for the next generation. So the work that you guys are doing is so important. I mean, I really feel, and Plaine Products feels, that everybody kind of doing more sustainable work, we're on the same team, and we're all just trying to move people to this side of the street and just create some awareness. Because certainly all it takes, as you said, is that intention of like, well, maybe I'm just not going to buy the same things I've always bought. Maybe I'm going to take an extra few minutes and find another company or pick a different brand or try something a little bit different or ask somebody what they're using or listen to a podcast. Because that's really what it's about, is just helping people see things a little bit differently and view the world a little bit differently and think about what happens, once they throw something away.
And I think that we're on the same page here. And I think Emma is as well, as far as whose responsibility is there, right? For years, and I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember, if you remember, the Native American standing by the side of the highway crying as people drove by and threw litter out their window. Do you remember that commercial?
Oh, I do, yes.
Basically blaming us, for the average citizen, for the problem that is out there, while they're selling us on the fact that plastic is the way to go and one-use plastic and all that stuff is the way to go. But it's our problem because we're just throwing it out the window.
Well, and as they ship it to a place like the U.S. Virgin Islands that has no place to put it.
Yeah, exactly. So my idea is this. Okay, so the way I feel about that now is, okay, if it is our responsibility, live intentionally and force these companies to do this stuff. You don't have to do it by law. I agree with EPR because it's going to move the ball forward. So I believe in that type of stuff. But I also believe in the fact that the three of us and everybody else can force this issue and say, you know what, it is my responsibility, and I'm going to buy Lindsey's product, and I'm not going to buy this one because she's doing it the right way. So there you go. Right?
Definitely. I think both. And I mean, we can get into extended producer responsibility, but one of the other things I love about it is it levels the playing field. I have to charge more because I'm paying to bring the bottles back and reuse them. I'm paying for a more expensive bottle versus a company that is benefiting from oil subsidies, which we're still doing in this country, so artificially cheap plastic to put it in, and then they don't have to worry about what happens afterwards. So I would just love, for us all to be charging what it actually costs to make the things that we're making, because, you know, right now it's a little, you know, sustainability is hurt by this artificial, you know, the cheap plastic that is provided by the oil subsidies.
Well, that's the whole thing as well. Like that, I was just thinking as you were saying this, like it definitely is more expensive to live intentionally right now as a consumer in America. Like you have to say, okay, I'm not going to buy this little $3 bottle of whatever the hell that's sitting on the CVS shelf that's in a plastic bottle. I'm going to invest my money in these high quality products, but I know that throughout the life cycle of this bottle, they're not just thinking about life cycle of like creation onto the shelves and that's it. You're thinking about life cycle and life cycle and life cycle and life cycle on and on and on and on. So this bottle is never really going away. Like every bottle that I have right now in my bathroom, that's from Plaine products. I know that's something that's not going to the landfill, and I would pay 3 times as much to have that peace of mind and knowing that I actually am making a difference.
And the other thing is the bottle really cool. From CVS is mostly water and a lot of chemicals, which is the other reason that it's so cheap. And, you know, a lot of other countries in Europe wouldn't let you even put those chemicals in a bottle for you to put on your skin. So, you know, it's cheap for 2 reasons. I think I saw.
Oh, wait, no. Come on, Lindsey. Lindsey, our FDA is the best on the planet. We don't let our
right up there with our EPA. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking. Sarcasm light is on high at this particular second of time. But the thing about that is I think it's like 66% of all consumers and like 77% of millennial consumers are willing to pay more for a sustainable product, or one that can prove that they are, and one that they know is right. So that's really good. But let me ask you this. I mean, we're talking about EPR, and California is looking to pass the strongest EPR in recycling, or California does pass the strongest EPR in recycling legislation in the U.S. This was, I got this from foodpackagingforum.org, written by Lindsey Parkinson.
Great.
I don't know. Perhaps you guys met. Yeah, you have the same first name, so you must know.
We must know each other.
But you must. But so part of this stuff is this. So let me read this just blurb real quick. Plastic Pollution Prevention and Packaging Producer Responsibility Act requires all packaging in California to be recyclable or compostable by 2032. Okay, that's 10 years. That's not a long time. Plastic packaging production be reduced by 25%, and 65% of packaging be recycled after use. That's the basically the condensed form of this stuff here. Will this eventually? And you talked about this, and Emma, you did as well. Is the expense of living intentionally is pretty high right now, right? As more people do this, and as this legislation goes through, does that reduce it? Because Lindsey, you said leveling the playing field, and I agree with you 100% about leveling the playing field. But I don't know that it's fair or effective to raise the price of those that aren't doing it right, or give subsidies to those who are doing it right to level the playing field, and then raise the price of the others who aren't. You know what I mean? It should be reversed. It shouldn't just be level, in my opinion, if we're really going to be good stewards.
Well,
your thoughts on that, Lindsey?
Certainly. I mean, you know, everything really is all about, as you know, logistics and infrastructure. So what would be amazing is if there was investment in circular infrastructure, which is basically like dishwashers and you know, some shared logistics. And if the government really wanted to do something about it, investments could be made, and that would be game changing for small companies and for people who are trying to do this work. You know, right now it's not great that we ship bottles around the country. I would love to not be shipping bottles around the country. I would love for there to be a place in California where bottles could get washed. And I would love for the bottles even to be universal. I would love for somebody else to be able to use our bottles. I mean, there's a lot of work that could be done, and the government is a great place to do it if that's how, if there's interest. And thus far, there hasn't been a lot of interest, maybe because of the power of the oil companies and entrenched plastic, but certainly there is
I'm sure
in circular economy that would jump it ahead light years and would reduce the price. I mean, shipping's what's so expensive, and if we didn't have to do that, it would be so much cheaper.
I think that would be a huge thing. But like as I was listening to you talk, I was also thinking that a lot of people, at least in my generation, convenience is everything. Like I work a 9-to-5 job. I'm in the office 5 days a week, which I mean, I know is unusual at this point, but like having my shampoo at my doorstep as I'm running out of it in my home, you can't beat that convenience. That's why companies like Amazon are so profitable, because you have it in 2 days. Like, and I know that when I place an order with Plaine products, I have my subscription set up with Plaine products, and I just sign up and I say, okay, every 3 months I need this product, and it shows up at my door, and I'm running out here and I rinse it and I send it right back. And there is something to be said for the convenience.
No. Oh, I mean, I don't think that would not be part of it. And trust me, I designed that for me, because I'm the same way. I can manage to get my cashews at bulk at the store, but getting a shampoo bottle out of my shower and refilled and back in my shower in time is never going to happen. So
it's like too much for some reason. Like it just
too much. But yeah, I mean, I certainly think that e-commerce makes sense, but I do feel like if there was some underlying infrastructure for circular companies in general, we could reduce the price dramatically.
We got to live intentionally, and thank you for doing that, Lindsey. And we're glad to highlight that. And again, love to have you and whomever from the Plastic Ocean Project on and talk about that as well in the future. Yeah. So excellent stuff. Where do people go to get, I mean, I know they go to plaineproduct.com, but you tell the people where to go to get your product and learn more.
It's funny because we were talking about last names. So my sister and I have the shared maiden name of Della Plaine, which is why it's Plaine with an E products. And I thought that when I was getting McCoy, it was an easier name to pronounce. So I was happy to trade up. But Della Plaine is our family name. And so it was that, and as well as this idea of like, you know, the solution's kind of plain and simple. Like we're just washing stuff. So it's Plaine with an E products.com. And yeah, you can get all the things, the shampoo, the conditioner, the hand wash, the lotion, the facial, the hand sanitizer that smells like peppermint and is don't spray it in your mouth. It is not mouthwash, but it smells amazing.
Excellent. And hey, so everybody, thanks for watching this. Go to plaineproduct.com, get it, learn, and live intentional. If you got questions, if you got a topic you want us to cover, if you got a company or a product, hit us up at, guess what, Emma? We have email. Hit us up at thesustainiacs.com and send us an email. We'll get you on here and we'll talk about it. That's what we're doing here, is connecting companies and consumers and helping them live intentionally with ease. Emma, where do they reach out to you at?
I'm on Instagram at OPT_Emma and on LinkedIn at Emma Wightman.
Awesome. Should they be following Plaine Products on Twitter or anything like that, Lindsey?
All the places. We're at Plaine Products, Plaine with an E, on all the channels, actually. So yes, we would love it. And, you know, I just want to say thank you. We appreciate so much as a small business. You know, you were talking about the importance of living intentionally, but sometimes it's hard to find them. I mean, there are very large companies that are spending lots of money to stay in your face. So we really appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to us and helping spread the word.